So when we went to war, I saw your colors all over me.
Brian Powell of Iron Far here with Damian Hall after his 5th place finish at UTMB 2018. Congratulations, Damian.
Thank you very much indeed. It was nice to see you out on the course. Thanks for your encouraging words.
Likewise, it was fun. We had a good time out there. Yeah. You were on my radar as someone who had improved well over the last couple years in general, as well as here at UTMB, from sort of back half of the top 20 to the, was it 12th last year?
Yeah.
With potential to keep moving up, and that you did.
Yeah.
Is this what you might have dreamt of from this year's UTMB?
It's probably better than I imagined, if I'm honest. Yeah, like you said, last year I was 12th. I was a quarter of an hour from 10th. I was in 10th briefly. In fact, the I Run Far tweet still haunts me, which is sort of like, it's something like, oh, looky here, look what's happening. Damian Hall's moved into 10th.
Oh.
And not long after that, Geordie Gamito gazumped me. And
turns out he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's quite good. Yeah, third this year. So it haunted me all year, really. So I've trained harder, but then I looked at the lineup for this year's race and kind of thought, but then, if I'm honest, it kind of happened even better than I could have imagined, in that I hoped all the fast guys would burn each other out, and hopefully there'd be a little bit of a void behind that maybe I could move into if I got everything right, if I stayed on top of all the basics, because I'm not in anything, I'm not in the same class as these guys, and I've got lots of sort of disadvantages, I'm not a full-time athlete, I've got children, I'm quite old. Some of these guys got 220 marathons, haven't they? I'm a 238 marathoner. I don't have big mountains near me. So all these things against me, or at least that's the mindset I like to get into.
Yeah. And because you can only go from there. It's not like you're trying to be self-defeating, but
no, I think it helps me to think, when even last year's race, I remember passing David Laney and Sage Canaday and thinking, whoa, I shouldn't be. But it sort of helps my mindset of, I don't know, getting me relaxed and. Yeah. No, but to answer your question a little bit more, no, I couldn't have imagined placing 5th.
How was your lead up, your season coming into this?
It was good. I did 2 other Ultra Tour World. What are they called again?
Ultra Tour World Tour.
I did the Madeira race, which I loved.
That went well.
Yeah, I placed 6th there, and I just loved the terrain there and that race. And I did the Mozart 100, which is a bit faster, and I sort of did that on purpose to try and get a bit faster. Mm-hmm. And again, I was 2nd there, which is probably my best international result. And then I came out and recce'd the course with 3 other Brits actually who have all done well. Beth Pascal, Joe Meek, and Jim Mann, who I think was 16th. So all of us have
top fell runner, and
yeah, very good. I was quite concerned he was going to catch me all race actually, but he didn't have an elite start, so he had the disadvantage of starting behind me.
Gotcha.
I recce'd the course for a change, and I guess trained a bit harder than normal.
Just having the experience from the previous year's UTMBs allow you to tweak, your training to work on places you can improve, maybe. Yeah,
I think so. Over the period of, so this is my 4th consecutive UTMB. Yeah. Over that period, when I started, it was the climbs that I seemed to do well on, because I've got a background probably more as a hiker than a runner.
Okay.
The climbs always used to go well, and then these European mountain goats would speed past me on the descents. Now, actually, this year I found I was catching people on the descents, and the climbs I seemed weaker on, so I've obviously neglected what used to be.
Well, maybe it's who you're running against at this point. Where
it could be that.
Yeah. So your first, I think you were 19th 2 years ago. Is that right? Somewhere? Right?
Yeah.
But so 3 years ago, where did you finish?
It's 31st overall.
So that's pretty consistent, solid improvement.
Yeah, I suppose it is. And I suppose that's each year there's such huge crowds here and so much attention on it that if things go well, you get this huge wave of goodwill. Yeah. So I've always come away with this overwhelming positive feeling, but then also this nagging doubt that I could have done something better, either in the race or in training or both. So there's always room for improvement, although I'm not sure I can.
We can just go tackle Geordie over there.
Yeah.
So you're saying you come from a hiking background. What is your athletic background? Did you grow up playing sports, or were you a hiker? What's the story?
I played a lot of. I remember being okay at cross country at school, but I remember when you're a teenager and you're sort of a rebel without a cause, and I remember having a hissy fit that I wasn't selected for some level of cross country team, And I just thought, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to play football or soccer as you guys. So I played football for 20 odd years. Wasn't any good, but I loved playing it. And then I had maybe a bit of a midlife crisis. Signed up for a half marathon in 2011.
And how old were you then?
About 35.
Okay.
And then I did my first marathon the next year, dressed as a toilet, as you would, for sponsorship reasons. So it's a long story. And then I did my first ultra that year, 2012, and just thought, this is for me.
Yeah.
By then, I already loved doing long distance trails. Maybe not Appalachian trail length, but in Britain we've got the Pennine Way and the Coast to Coast Walk, and I've done lots of the trails around the world, New Zealand, and so I love being out on my feet for days at a time, carrying, being self-reliant, going up down hills. Stuff in your face as you move, so all these skills I already had, but I didn't realize.
And you didn't know they were skills, like stuff in your face.
Yeah, it's a skill. I've been doing that since 4:00 this morning, actually. So I'm very skillful. And so when I did my first ultra, I was like, I just absolutely love this stuff, and and just thought I'm doing more of this, and gave up football pretty much.
Yeah. So you had run a little bit as a kid, over the years, but
never on a track.
More recently, like. You just loved being outdoors and hiking.
Yeah. It was more about being outdoors. Yeah, but just I love the sport.
And it turns out you're pretty good at it.
Well, I'm trying. And I mean, like the Brits haven't got a great record really at UTMB,
except for those 5 Lizzie Hawker wins, and
sorry,
and there's Jez too.
I've made the classic mistake, haven't I? But the men, and we do have some disadvantages with terrain and also the weather. I mean, my first 2 years were very hot. I didn't really like that.
So shit years weather-wise are good for you.
Yes. So this year and last year, my best 2 years.
But this year wasn't horrible. Like it was not a great, pleasant evening probably, but
no, but it was cooler and there was drizzle and fog and all those things.
It wasn't beyond category bad though.
No. I think last year was a little bit tougher weather-wise.
So you live in Southwest England. You have a family.
Yeah.
You come in with your kids. The past you just too fast now.
By the time I get to the finish, they're usually faster than me, actually. Yeah. But no, I couldn't persuade my wife that 3 years in a row, family holiday in Chamonix was the place to have a family holiday. But they were watching at home on the live stream, which was nice. Yeah.
And what do you do back in England for your day job?
I'm a journalist.
Yeah.
Mostly outdoor stuff as well. So usually when I come to these races, I write a tedious, annoying report about how it all went.
Don't remind me of my afternoon. But yeah, so like, how has that been? That a lot of you're coming to these races and reporting on them, but are you good at like separating that? Have you take this weekend off from work? There
has been a change. Like I think when I started doing the races, I was doing them primarily to do magazine stories.
Yes.
Now I'm definitely doing them as an athlete. I guess maybe after that first UTMB, possibly actually, I thought, hold on, maybe I could be good at this if I concentrated more on it. So I said I would start saying no to stories, basically that were, you don't want to race too much, do you? So I would say no to sometimes all expenses paid foreign trips. That would be a nice race, but I know my next race wouldn't be so good because I'd be tired. So I started being able to say no, and hopefully
focus on your races as an athlete rather than. Are you doing any stories for this race?
I think I'm doing one afterwards, but that was
from your personal perspective or from that of covering the race.
No, it's a personal. So I'm not trying to clash with
no. But
the great work of I Run Far. No, it's just a personal story write up.
You probably got a pretty good story coming out of it.
I guess so, but most magazines, so nearly every magazine in Britain, I've written a UTMB story for. So most of them don't want to.
You're running out, yeah.
But yeah, I'll do one.
Any particular stretches of the race that just standing out in your mind that you'll remember going forward?
I always love the section after Courmayeur, the climb and then the undulating plateau, and I nearly always and it always seems to go quite well for me there. So I remember coming up Grand Col Ferret or Ferret as we say in English,
indeed.
In the mist and the cold, and I liked that. That was nice.
I mean, the only problem with your racing is you keep getting faster, so probably your first one was getting toward daylight when you're going on that nice balcony going to Bonatti.
Yeah, every year it's been, and it was only just light by the top this time. Yeah.
Might have to take a slower tour one of these years.
Yeah.
Any rough patches? Because you seem to be consistent or move up throughout the day.
I did have some small slumps, I suppose, and I've always been quite good at being conservative early on and fairly patient. But this year I did analysing my previous year and seeing where I could improve, it was clear that the people who finished ahead of me went a bit faster than me early on.
Yeah.
So I did think, okay, well, let's just experiment very carefully with going a bit quicker earlier.
Okay.
But by Saint Gervais, I realised that was about as quick as I should definitely go. So I thought, no, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have a little slump after that. Oh, and also I misheard someone tell me my race, like where I was in the race. I thought they said I was 37th.
Yeah.
This is early in the night, and I thought, oh, that's terrible. I'm having a nightmare race, and I got into a sort of spiral of self-loathing, and I had a bad spell around then.
And how do you turn that around?
I started asking the runners near me where we thought we were in the race, and they're all saying about 13th, 14th. So I thought, well, actually, that's fine.
Yeah. That's a fine place.
And usually nutrition as well. You know, often a lull will start with lack of nutrition. So yeah,
that skill of stuffing your face just pays off.
I know it doesn't look like I love food, but I do love food.
Nice. Do you have any other races planned for this year?
No, absolutely nothing. I think I learned the lesson a couple of years ago. I had an important race. I was the Trail World Championships actually a couple of years ago, not long after UTMB, and neither of those races went that well for me. So yeah, I always keep a clean slate so that I can sort of just smash myself up on UTMB and not worry about. Yeah, yeah.
You'll probably come back here and smash yourself again next year.
No, I've got to stop coming. I think 4 years in a row. I think I'll come back and do it again. But
Sometime.
Next year, I'm not doing UTMB.
And is there anything that has your interest piqued in terms of a big race?
Oh, well, I'd love to come over to your country and do a couple of your big hundreds, especially Hard Rock or Western States. But they're difficult to get into. But yeah, I'd love to, that. I'm going to sit down and look at Western States and seeing how I can. It might not suit me as much as maybe Hard Rock or UTMB, but I'd love to do that.
Your training grounds would probably be pretty good for it.
I suppose.
Get some fast training in.
Yeah. But I'd love to. Yeah, and also just come over and experience the American trail running culture, which I've read so much about, and I'd love to do that.
Nice. Well, congratulations on a great race, Damian.
Thank you very much.
Great
indeed.
chatting.
Cheers.